How's it going, traders? So my name is Rich. I run a site called Pros Don't Panic. And if you struggle with understanding charts and making money trading the markets, well, you are in the right place. So this is going to be a demonstration of what I call trend surfing. And I'm from California. I grew up surfing. So as I started looking at the waves that came through the market, I was like, this is exactly like surfing. So I set this all up. So this is what I call the coastline. The coastline, it starts with the 200 period moving average. 200 period moving average is in blue. I always have my 200s in blue. And the orange is the 20 period moving average. For decades, I have set this up this way. Orange and blue are complementary colors. They work well together. So the orange to 20 period moving average is in, or is the wave rather. Okay, so the wave is going to push toward the beach. So it goes from the deep water, just like a normal surfing wave goes toward the beach. So the beach is going to be out here. And we are going to make money by surfing the wave toward the beach. And what do we do when we get to the beach? We get off the wave. So we are going to figure out how to catch a power wave in this area where the 20 and the 200 come together is where we sit in what we call the lineup. We're going to sit in the lineup. We're going to catch a power wave. We're going to ride that wave all the way to the beach. We're going to get off the wave. And if we're lucky, we are going to catch the riptide back to the deep water. So we're going to make money going both ways. If you have no confidence in how to do this at all, stick with me. I'm going to show you how to make real money trading the markets in both directions using the simple analogy. And once you learn it, you're never going to unlearn it. You're going to figure it out. You're like, man, I could teach my kids how to do this. I could have a team of traders in my family making money day and night. All right, so let's look at the first thing. The first step in this trend surfing process is surf where the waves are. Surfers don't surf anywhere. They surf where the waves are coming through. So where is that? Well, there's two places. The first is where the 200 period moving average and the 20 period moving average come together. That is a pause in the market. If we were to look at a chart, there are patterns all over the chart. I always do the power legs of the patterns are in orange and the weak legs of the pattern are in blue. So that's just how I do it. And when you take my coaching classes, you'll learn this over and over and over again. So the power legs of the pattern are in orange. The weak legs of the pattern are in blue. This weak leg of the pattern is why these two moving averages have come together. So let's back this off real quick and look at the fact that this pattern started up here. So you have this pattern starting from here, coming down. Let's put that in orange. And now it's backing off. It's going kind of sideways. And our expectation is that this thing could potentially have another run down in green, or I'm sorry, in orange. We haven't seen that yet. In other words, if I stuck this on replay and eliminated all of this, you wouldn't see all that. But this is basically what's happening here. You have orange, blue, and orange, right? So we are currently right here. And we are going to find a powerful wave in this what we call the narrow state, or where the 20 and the 200 come together. That is where we're going to pick up these power moves that break out of this narrow state here. All right, so we are in a narrow state. We've got this coastline analogy that we're in the deep water here. We're coming up into a narrow state where the wave has a potential of coming through. We're going to catch that wave from this narrow state here. And the powerful wave is going to be one of these bars on the correct side. We're going to catch that powerful wave. Now I have a course that teaches all of this. It goes through where to sit in the lineup, what are powerful waves, and how to surf them along the trend, and how to get out at the beach and then turn around and do it again. I've got a course that teaches all of this, and then I have weekly coaching sessions which go through all of this over and over again. If you don't have the confidence to do this as easily as I'm explaining this, pick up my course at this QR code and you will be able to start being profitable. Okay, step number one, surf where the waves are. That is right here where the market has come together. This is Google on the 4-hour chart. This is basically real time. It's June 11th. or we're going to head over to real time. This is June 11th, 2026. All right, step 2. We are going to catch a powerful wave. Step 3 is we are going to surf the trend. So let's do this. I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible. No one has any patience these days, so I'm going to try to get through this, and then we're going to kick out of the trend. All right, so those are the 4 steps. So let's catch a powerful wave from the right location and surf it into the beach. Well, I don't want to go through every candle here, but our powerful waves are these big bars, gapping bars, tail bars, all these kinds of things kick off a trend. Anytime a trend kicks off, a trending wave kicks off in a pattern, it is going to kick off with power. So the power is going to lie in this area right here where it kicks off. It's going to lie in this area right here where it kicks off, always. I am a 25-year pattern analyst. I'm one of the best pattern analysts in the world. I've been studying under Glenn Neely, who developed NeoWave, and I have been able to transfer my pattern analysis understanding over to trading and developing this trend surfing analogy. So if I was to get rid of the market, just get rid of the market, get rid of all of this text here, and hide all of this, every time you see the market change direction. So where are we going to find a powerful move? Right here. Right before what I call the trend state. This is the trend state where the trend is angling. That's the trend state. So I should find powerful moves in the market right here. I should find them right here. Anytime this market kicks off, it kicks off with power. It never kicks off with weakness. Always kicks off with power. So I should find strong bars, strong moves in these areas. So when you turn the market back on, without even looking, I mean, I can already see strong move, strong move. There's the super strong move right there. Where's the next one? Strong move right there. So it's not hard to do. You just have to learn how to do it. So this is how it's done. We're surfing what we call the trend state. The trend state is these angled moves. So we want to pick up where these angled moves start at the initiation of their start, and then they start where the market either comes together or it has hit the beach. This is the beach right here. So when it hits the beach, it's going to come, the energy is going to dissipate, it's going to turn around. So this is the beach. So we want to surf it from the beach back to the deep water or from the deep water to the beach. That's how you learn how to do it. All right, let's bring the market back in and let's surf this. Let's bring our stuff back in here. There's our process. And let's look at how we could have gotten in and surfed this wave. The wave is the 20-period moving average. The surfer is the market, and we are going to get in and surf it. All right, how do we do that? Well, the first thing we want to do is we want to find a powerful wave. So the powerful wave kicked off here. In this case, this powerful wave had a pullback. But what we didn't see was the fact that this market started actually right here. This market started right there at the close of the previous bar and then came all the way down. So if I was to set my stop, I'm going to set my stop at the top of where this market actually started. Where this move actually started was right here. So I'm going to set my stop, rather than setting my stop at the top of this bar here. Let's get rid of this little piece. Rather than setting my stop at the top of this bar, where I would have gotten stopped out, I'm going to set my stop at the top of this bar, which was actually where this bar started. So this bar actually started here. If I wanted to be really critical, I could have gotten in this trade where this bar cleared. But I'm going to go ahead and get in this trade down here. And I'm going to make that green. I'm going to make my exit here. This is my initial stop. So step 1 is set my initial stop. And then I'm going to surf this trend. Well, how do I surf the trend? Well, the first thing I want to do is decide where I am in this wave. This is what I call the initial or entry part of the wave. So this section between here, let's make this purple, between here and here is the initial entry section of this wave. This is the wave right here. The 20-period moving average is my wave that I'm going to surf. So I'm going to surf this wave. Now, this particular, let's go over here. Let's go back up to, there's my surfer guy. This is my surfer guy popping up on the wave. This guy is not going to get off this wave. He's just barely getting on the wave. He wants to get up and surf and have a good time. He wants to go flying down the wave, right? So why in the world would he get out of this here? He's not going to. He just barely got in the trade, right? So all of you are a lot of you are getting into these trades and getting spooked, getting scared, and getting out. We're not going to do that. We have decided this is a trend. We are going to surf this trend, and this is what we call the entry zone. So we're going to enter the wave, enter the trade, and this is the entry zone. All right, I'm giving you the abbreviated quick version here, but this is the entry zone. We don't get out of trades in that zone. The next zone is going to be surfing zone. We're going to actually surf the wave and enjoy it. This is not set in stone here. We're going to kind of just play with this a little bit, but the idea here is that the next zone is called the surfing zone. This is where we surf the wave. And then the final zone is the exit, or what I call the kick out. We're going to kick out of the wave, kick out zone, right? So that's where we're looking for the beach. We see the beach. We're getting pretty close to the beach, and we're gonna kick out. We're gonna go over these three zones here in a second. All right, so we've just gotten up on the wave here. Gotten up on the wave. We've set our stop. In fact, let's make that red. We set our stop here. I'm being very liberal in how I got this entry. I could have easily entered up here, but I want to get into all the details. But we got into our entry there. And now we're going to surf the wave. How do we surf the wave? Well, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to say, I'm going to get the face of this wave out of the wave first, and I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to take my profits, and then I'm going to think about actually doing a pullback and catching the rest of this wave. So let's go over that real quick. Here I'm sitting in the lineup. I'm popping up on the wave. I'm surfing down the face of that's the first big power move. What was the power move? This was the power move right here. Remember I talked about that? This is the power move. This power move is going to happen. We're going to catch that. All right. So I'm going to catch that power move, and then I'm going to do a little bottom turn, and I'm going to come back. I'm going to pop off the lip, and I am going to surf down the face of the wave, and for my second time, and then I'm going to kick out of the wave. That's trend surfing. All right, let's go back to the market and let's see what I just talked about. So here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to surf down this face of this wave, boom, 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 as much as I can until I pull back and try it again. Now, most traders will get out after one bar. They'll get a little profit and they'll be like, well, I better get out. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, we're going to get 3 to 5 bars before we get out. So let's count our bars. You might want to use this entry bar as a single bar, or you might want to just discount that. It depends on where and how you got in. In this case, I got in late. But if I was to get in early, and I didn't want to go over every detail as to why I got in, but let's say I got in here and this was bar number 1. We'll call that bar 1. We're going to get 3 to 5 of these big forward progression bars, and then we're going to get out. This might be bar 2, this little tail here. This was a bit of a progression. We could call that bar 2. It's not really a big pushing bar, but it did make progress. These little bars here that we don't count, they went in the wrong direction or they're too small. This is our third real big pushing bar here. Here's number 4, still going. Now what am I going to do here? I've already set my stop. I'm coming down the face of the wave, and I'm going to take some profits. How much profits is up to you. You can take 50%, 75%, 100%, because we're going to have an opportunity to get back in this market. But let's just say we took 50% of our profits right here. And we're going to let the other 50% ride, and we're going to maybe get back in. All right, so we've gotten down the face of the wave. What is the other thing we're going to do? As I'm going down the face of this wave, I'm going to move my stop, and I'm going to clear my entry, and now I'm risk-free. So I'm risk-free. I'm going to clear my entry. I'm allowing myself to make some money, and now I'm going to get back in. In the surfing zone, we have an opportunity to re-enter the trade. There are different entry signals that we have, different what I would call waves. We can do powerful waves like this, powerful bars. Our waves will catch, or we'll catch just simply changes of direction. In this case, we have a change of direction, and we could get back in the market here. So the market, I don't want to get into all the details of how we do this. It's in the course, and we talk about it in our coaching sessions, but we're going to get back in. We're getting back in the market here. And how do we actually manage this? How do we manage this surfing zone and trading this trend and all of these candles? How do we stay in and not get out of this? How do we actually make money in this? Well, we do what we call surfing the 8. So let's move this surfing zone out of the way. And I'm giving you a very brief and abbreviated version of this, but it's what I call surfing the 8. Let's bring in the 8-period moving average. We use this only for stop management. And this is the 8-period moving average. Let me get rid of this zone here, this entry zone and this kick out zone, but just keep an eye on this kick out zone. It's down here. It's when the trend starts getting a little old, right? We're pushing towards the beach. The beach is out here. We're pushing towards the beach. Okay. Now, we are in our trade here. This is our second entry. We kept 50% on the of our first trade. We kept 50% online, and we're back in the trade here. I won't get into all the details of why we got back in, but it cleared this little sideways move, and we're back in the trade. There's a couple things I want you to notice. Number one, my initial stop was still up here on my original trade. My second stop, I moved it down to here because that was the stop entry. But let's just, for the sake of this video, let's just put both of our stops right here. And let's just walk this down, what I call surfing the 8. Let's walk this down. You ready? On this bear trade, the stop that is lower wins. Okay? So let's start at this trade, at this stop over here, and let's just look at how it works. So play the game with me. So here is let's see if I can make this flat. There we go. This is the moving average where it crosses this candle. This stop, which was my previous stop, this stop is lower. I'm going to leave my stop there. Let's go to the next candle. Just play the game with me. You'll figure out how the game works. Go to the next candle. This is stop management, surfing the 8. Next candle. This stop or this crosses the 8 here. Looks like it's the exact same place. We're going to leave the stop there. We're going to the next candle. You notice I'm not panicking. Pros don't panic. We're just surfing the 8. I am now moving my stop. Let's see if I can grab it. There, I'm moving my stop now down to where it crosses. Remember, we can't see all of this into the future. But I can see my moving average. Now, my moving average where it crosses is lower than where my stop was, so I'm going to move this down here. We're always going to grab the lower of the two. I'm going to my next candle. Moving average comes down. I'm sorry, this comes down, stop comes down. Now, this gets us to a little bit of a flux point here. This is a large move down. We always move our stop on large moves. Why? Because if this move were to be taken out by a green bar, let's make that a green bar. That is in and of itself a reversal signal. That's not a good thing. So a large red bar being taken out by a green bar, that is a reversal signal. That is not a good thing. We don't want that. So we are going to protect ourselves on these large bars. We are going to move the stop down. So where is the stop currently? There is this little bar here, and it's the crossing the moving average here. This large bar moved down, so we're going to move our stop down to this large bar. Now let's bring this over, and we can see that the large bar stop is lower than this crossing of the moving average, so we're going to keep the lower in play. Let's go to the next one. We're just surfing the 8. Let's go to the next one. We're going to bring our stop, our deal down here. Our stop is still lower. We're going to leave it there. Let's go to the next one. We're going to bring our deal down here. We're basically at even. Let's go to the next one. And we're bringing our stop down. So now this is lower than our stop. We're going to bring our stop down. Move it to the next one. We're bringing our stop down. We're surfing the 8 in this case. We're coming down. We're coming down. We're surfing the 8. We're coming down. And we get stopped out. And we're done. We're not looking for every single penny down here. We are surfing to the beach and we're out. And in this case, the market, you know, it came down. Nice big trend line, smash, and it's done. Okay, so what is this? Let's just stick with me here. And what is this component? This is what I call the riptide. Let's get rid of the 8-period moving average now. And let's get rid of all this. This is the riptide. So we're out of this trade. We kept half of our trade in here. We added to our trade, and we got rid of everything at the beach. We're out now. We got knocked out. We're out. We didn't get. Let me restate that. We didn't get knocked out. We got out of the wave because it hit the beach. And it's a lot more calm way of thinking of it. Nobody kicked us out of the trade. Nobody knocked us out. We are surfers surfing to the beach, and when surfers get off the wave, they're not little kids. They don't ride up onto the beach. They kick out of a wave when the wave has lost the energy, paddle back and have another one. They have fun. Start having fun with your trading. That's a huge part of this. People freak out, and they're always worried about every little detail in their trading. Pros don't panic. They have a good time. This is, if you think about surfing as being fun, you'll start having fun with your trading. Okay. Now, what is the riptide? Let's go over here to our little PowerPoint deal. Here's the riptide. Let's go to the right one here. This is the riptide. Waves are coming into the beach, and for whatever coastline physics happen here, the water pools up, digs a trench, and the water literally goes like a river back out to the beach. Or I'm sorry, back out to the deep water. That is a physical reality in beaches. You can die swimming against a riptide. It's going the other direction against the waves. The waves are coming in. The riptide is going out. That is exactly what's happening here. So the wave came in. It's going into the beach. And now the market is ripping back out to the deep water. Okay, how do we surf this? How do we deal with this? Well, when the market, and I'll just show you the trend has come down here, it's smashed through this trend line. So you are starting a new pattern here. New patterns start with power. Doesn't matter which direction they are going, they start with power. So this pattern is now starting with power, and that's, you know, what we're looking at. This is starting with power. That's what this is happening right here. It's a brand new pattern starting with power. So it's coming down and it's ripping through the 20. We don't take this right now. We're not advanced enough yet to take this trade. We're simply going to wait for it to blast through the 20. We're not taking this yet. We're going to let it come back, test the 20. And when it clears, so it clears the 20, but it didn't clear this, right? Clears the 20. It didn't clear this. But when we have this little red bar get cleared by this green bar, we have permission to get in. So we have a tiny little entry here, but that's enough. And we're in this trade. We're in early. So I'm going to set my stop. I'm getting in this trade. What happens if I'm wrong? What happens if things rolls over and I'm wrong? Well, that's a tiny little loss there for the potential of where this thing is headed, right? And I have another entry right here. This thing completely clears. Look at this big move right here. I've got an entry. So I've got all kinds of entries in here, but I got in early. I'm going to get in that one. So now what do? Well, actually, let me keep that there. I got in. Well, we talked about two things. First, we want to push. So here's a big push. Let's start counting. Maybe that's number one right there. Where's another forward progress? That's number two. It's not very big. Maybe that's two. That's two. Let's go with three. That's four. Right? Why am I doing this? Because I'm giving myself a reason to stay in. Why? Because I'm in the entry zone. I'm in the entry zone of the market. I'm not in the surfing zone. This is the entry zone. I'm just getting into the surfing zone. I don't get out of trades in the entry zone. It's a way to keep me in the market. I'm surfing down the face of the wave, and I'm going to capture those profits. So I'm going to capture profits right here. I said this was going to be a short video. Capture profits. And if I have a chance to get back in, I'm going to get back in. This thing took off. And then it backs off towards the 20. I've got a chance to get back into the market here. I either get out half my profits here. I'm sorry, half my profits at capture the profits and stay in. Ride the rest of this. How do I ride the rest of this? Well, I bring in my 8. And I have an entry again here if I want it. I ride the 8 doing what we just talked about. You can practice this on your own. Just add a 20 and a 200 and an 8 to your trading view chart. You can go to indicators, add simple moving average. You can click on that. Over here on the left, you have your moving averages. You click on the little gear wheel, choose 8, choose style. I use purple, and boom, you're in. You've got all these. So set up your little vertical deal, your horizontal, and you just start tracking, moving your stop. Just go in reverse. Now, where would you move your stop on here? You move your stop to the bottom of this, right? We talked about that. So you're going to get in, you're going to move your stop to the bottom of these big ones, and then you're going to just trail, and you're going to get stopped out. So you already got profits here. You got profits here. You could potentially get back in here where it comes back towards the 20-period moving average. Let's get rid of this one. We take trades near the 20. We don't take trades away from the 20. We only take trades near the 20. So maybe you get a chance to get back in. Boom, 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 boom. Same thing. Ride the 8. There's a couple more nuances I haven't talked to you about. For example, as it's going away from the 20, away from the 8, we want to be real careful. We want to maybe go bar by bar because it's getting really separated. As we get real separated, we get air gaps in here. We get an air gap in here. And there is another air gap in here. We get another air gap in here. That's what I call triple wide. So we want to go maybe bar by bar when we get to this point. So we can surf the 8 going up. And then when we start getting really separated, we want to go bar by bar. Boom. What is this? What is this right here? That's the beach. It's going sideways. Uh-oh, what do? Well, we riptide back to the beach. We riptide from the beach. We riptide back to the deep water. So we flip this whole thing around, and we're now going to riptide back to the deep water through this. Crashes back through the 20. Let's get rid of the 8. Crashes back through the 20. Tests. Boom. This was an old thing I had here. Let's get rid of that one. Crashes through the 20. Tests the 20. Boom. There's your face of your wave. You're going to surf that, grab that, get your profits. maybe get back into re-entry. You're getting a little close to the 200 here, but that's your big money maker right there. Come back, maybe another one right here, and you're done. You just surfed. How many times we just do this? 3 times. This is a Google 4-hour chart. We just did this 3 times in a number of days, and this brings us up to. Let's get rid of all this. Let me just get rid of all this. This brings us up to June 11th, current state. So what is the current state of the market? If you cannot tell me what the current state of the market is before you watch this video, you are in need of some training. We're on the downside of the 20, heading into the deep water where it could easily bounce off the 200. And it's either going to cross and go another trend, or it's going to stall. So we're looking at being very careful coming into the 200 right here. We're at the very tail end of our last little bit, and then we're going to look for it to either go flat, and we're going to get into another narrow state where we could pick up another trend run, or it's going to cross with a vengeance, and the beach is going to switch to the other side, and we're going to surf this thing all the way to the beach, riptide it back. You get the idea. You can do this all day. This is Google on the 4-hour chart, and we're making money going back and forth over and over and over again. I teach this in my course. So here's where you are right now if you're watching YouTube videos trying to figure this out, you are in education mode. That's where you are. You will then, if you take my course and get into the trading community that I have, here's my trading community, little shot of my trading community. I have coaching sessions every week. All we do is what I just showed you. Over and over and over again, I go into all the fine details of how to pick up these waves, how to trade them, how to set your stops, all of that. How to make money. This will become the income engine to your business, your trading business. You can teach your kids how to do this. Who doesn't want to learn how to surf, right? So you're currently in an education mode. I'm going to take you through education. You're going to learn my course. You're going to learn how to do it. Then you're going to go to training mode. And you're going to learn how to do this without blowing all your money. And then you're going to get experience. And you're going to now have the results you've been looking for in all, let me scan all the YouTube videos, figure out how to do all this. Okay, well, that's because you're looking for results that you don't currently have. So you're going to get the education, you're going to go through the training, you're going to get the experience, and now you're going to get the results that you want. You're going to start making real money. We're talking real money, and you're going to be able to teach your kids how to do this, put your whole family on a LLC and learn how to do this. Start making real money, go back and forth, trade any market. You can do this on the monthly, the weekly, the daily. You can trade, if I went over here to Google, let's go to the 3-day chart just for kicks and grins here. Let's get rid of all of this. Let's look at this. Where is the coastline? Where is the beach? Where is the market pulling away? Well, the market's pulling away right here, right? It's pulling away and it's heading to the beach. Now it's riptiding back. I mean, I could do this all day. Now, granted, the 20 and the 200 are separated here. You have to be careful of that. So where is your narrow state, which I talked about? Right here. So you're looking for a narrow state where the 20 and the 200 are relatively close, all things considered. You're going to have a big power move that comes off of that. You're going to, you've cleared your resistance zone there. You don't always have to wait for that, but you cleared your resistance zone. What happens? Smash. Now, most momentum traders are going to wait for, wait to get in till the market's told them it's safe to get in. They're going to have some courage, but we're going to learn how to get in early on in these trades down here. We're going to set our stops and we're going to surf this whole thing. How are we going to surf this thing? Just like I taught you. You're going to get your 3 big pushes. You're going to get your profits. You're going to get in on your 8. You're going to surf it until you have to re-enter. You're going to re-enter. You're going to surf it. You're going to, at some point, you're going to get to the beach. It's going to be obvious that the beach is going sideways, and then you're going to get out. So this trade was over here, and we would have to reevaluate what we want to do on this section, but this trade was over when it all started going sideways. That's what I call the beach. So this market, trend surf, hit the beach, you're out. And you can just do this all day long. This is Google on the 3-day chart of all things. So it's absolutely everywhere. Anytime you have a trend, let me get rid of the market. I'll finish up with this. I know this thing's going long. I said this was only going to be a 10-minute video. Anytime that you have this move here, let me get rid of this. Anytime you have a move here or here or here. Oh, that didn't work out very well. There we go. Or any of these breakouts. I'm not using my thing very well, am I? Okay. Any of these breakouts. This is where you want to surf. You surf between the transition zone between what we call wide, which I call the beach, wide and narrow. So the transition between narrow here and wide here, there's an angle, a transition zone where this angle is, like, call it 45 degrees from the 200, the 20 and the 200 are 45 degrees. So you have this angle, transition zone, transition zone, transition zone. We get paid on the transition zones, and we have to learn how to get in at the beginning of those transition zones. And that's where that's what the course teaches. That's how we transurf. We transurf these waves of energy, and we just go back and forth, and we learn how to do it. We trade them going out to the beach. We riptide them going back to the deep water, trade them out to the beach, riptide them back to the deep water on either side of the market. This would be a trade from the beach back to the deep water. As soon as you cross the deep water, the analogy switches, and now you're going back to the beach and you're riptiding back to the deep water. Do you see how that works? It happened to have crossed. We now have a new beach that we're shooting for. We're coming back to the deep water. So we just have to learn how to do it. We have to learn how to manage these transition zones. We have to learn how to manage our stops. It's not that hard. But you learn how to do this, you're going to make money coming and going. This is what I call the income engine. So if you want to learn how to do this, I've got a course. You hit up this QR code right here on the corner. It takes you to my site, which has a course and a ongoing coaching that I teach. I teach this every week. We go over and over and over this. We do drills and lessons. I used to be on a nuclear submarine, and we would train 4 hours a day. And we knew what we were doing, and we would still train 4 hours a day to learn how to never fail. And so this is kind of the mentality I have. We train, and then you just end up with all these results. So this is the QR code. Hit it up, and I will see you in our PDP community. Take care, everybody.